Hi, I'm Amy Rompo, host of Under the Oaks. This is a space for meaningful stories, the kind that leave a lasting impression and shape the way we see the world.
And I'm Jenny Harrison. Here we sit down with people whose lives and experiences have made a genuine impact and whose stories deserve to be shared.
We believe it takes courage to tell your story, and that when it is shared, it can bring connection, encouragement, and hope.
So wherever you're listening from, we're glad you're here. Come sit with us under the oaks where stories take root.
Today, we're so excited to have Dana Gentry with us. She's an entrepreneur, a real estate leader, and author of Restore. She is someone who is so passionate about living with intention that she actually just wrote a book about it. And she's going to share some tips with us on how we can live intentionally without burning out. I'm honored to call her a friend and share a glimpse of her honesty and tips on leadership, but most of all, just how her faith shines through. And she has the most fabulous style. She's sitting here with feathers on her shirt, and I just can't wait to share her. So let's welcome Dana to Under the Oaks today.
When you came in, I was like, I want to know more about your backstory.
Yes.
So even though you're like a close friend of Amy and I, and we're in the same small group together,
Yes.
I feel like it would be helpful to me to know like where you came from.
Yeah. Okay.
Besides just Kentucky, but more information.
Yes. Okay. Wow. We're just jumping right in.
We're jumping in.
Jumping right in.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Well, I'm originally from the Virginia, Tennessee area, right on the border, a little small town called Bristol, Johnson City area. Some of you may have heard of it.
And been to many races there.
Yes. Oh yeah. Bristol Motor Speedway.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Blast from the past. And then you say Johnson City and people only know it because that's where Kenny Chesney's from.
Yes.
But grew up there until I was in like middle school, I guess. And then we moved to Lexington, Kentucky. And so really spent the rest of my life in Kentucky until moving to Charleston a couple of years ago, part-time. But oh my gosh. Okay. So let's see, like pivotal moments.
Yeah.
Okay. So I used to be really ashamed to talk about this, but now I just know and have learned it's totally part of my story. But I had a couple of series of events when I was in high school where some really good friends were killed in a drunk driving accident. I had been in the car and then got dropped off and they sped up. Everyone had been drinking. We'd been at Keeneland, which is like our big horse race place, obviously not proud of it, but underage drinking and doing all the high school things.
Mm-hmm.
And I got dropped off. Then they had an accident and one of the people died and another one went to prison for many years. My friends were involved in that. Then I had another friend just a couple months after that pass away in an accident on a Kentucky kind of curvy road, no alcohol involved in that one. But that, and then my parents got divorced that same year, just lots of issues going on in my household. And a lot of, my dad was an alcoholic, just a lot of things. And so it pushed me into this like immense panic and anxiety. And I mean, I almost didn't graduate high school. I couldn't leave the house. I hate it if there's a listener that's ever experienced this, but if you've ever had like a true panic attack, it is the most terrifying thing in the world. You literally think you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is debilitating. And I lived that for several months and just I just couldn't shake it. I couldn't figure out what was going on. This was like in between my junior and senior year of high school. And then, my mom took me to a doctor, and at 17 and I guess 17 and a half age, they just basically did nothing but put me on Xanax. And looking back, I think that might be why now you guys know this one, but I'm so psycho about like health and longevity and supplements and all the things. And I hate to take stuff. And I think when I think about it, I'm like, man, I think that stems back from that. But I got just hooked. I mean, this is funny, but I went to school and I spray tanned naked people for a living. I worked at a tanning bed. I was like the spray tanner. Like if you wanted a spray tan in Central Kentucky, I was the girl. Like,
which who didn't in Central Kentucky?
And this was in the day, were they using butterfly stickers and things too?
100%. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. And this was this was before you could stand in a booth and be sprayed. So like I sprayed everybody by hand with like an airbrush sprayer. So I would go to school and then I would go straight and spray tan. Like
you saw the whole town in their birthday suit.
Everybody. Yes. Whole thing. Yes.
Yeah.
However,
small town.
When we fast forward in a little bit, that will have led to a lot of my success in real estate, quite frankly. Because
I can't wait to see you tie that in.
Yes, I will. I'll tie it in. Okay. They felt guilty. Like they felt like, wow, she's seen me naked. I have to buy a house from her. I think. I don't know. But anyway, so I just remember like I couldn't even leave my house without taking a Xanax or, taking pills. And I would go. And I mean, now that I look back, I'm like, how did I even do such a good job spraying these naked people when I was all hopped up on pills? But I could not kick it. I mean, for, a couple years. And I remember not being able to get them from the doctor. And so I would like find people who I could buy them from, just all the things. And God really healed me. I mean, I never had to get, professional help. I never went to rehab. I shared this in my keynote, but I have a picture of my graduating high school class, and I don't remember being there walking across the stage.
Wow.
But I wouldn't have been able to go.
What was that moment when God healed you? Was it then? Was it later? Like, was this a slow progression?
It was
it quick?
later. It was a little bit after that. And I just remember thinking like, I went to church, definitely wasn't like as deep in my faith as I am today. I think the older we get, the more you just, if you're, a believer, you just grow so much more in wisdom and all the things. But I remember I was doing all the things, like I was reading my Bible, I was praying, I was doing my devotions, and I just still could not shake it. And I don't really remember, Amy, to be honest, the exact moment. I just remember thinking, I'm done. I'm not going to take another one. And like, God's got this and I'm done. Like, I'm just not going to do this anymore. Yeah. And I never did again. And it's just crazy to think back to then and to see the progression of my life. I actually was in the shower this morning. I hair showered today for this. And I was thinking.
Hair showered.
Which, do you guys I don't know if you all call it now, like everyone's like, I have to hair shower. I'm
do
like,
my everything shower.
Yeah, your everything shower, your hair shower.
Okay, but most people like, this side note, most people like shower their body, keep their hair. You shower your hair, keep your body.
No, like I wash my body every day.
I did a full shower.
But I only wash my hair like
once
a week.
I feel like the hair isn't as important as the body, but
in my mind, I'm picturing like the old school, like sit in a chair, like
lean your hair back,
wash your hair back.
Okay,
when you say
you did the full shower.
I did the full shower today.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes, just for ultimate clarification on that. I was thinking though in the shower, and I really mean this. If I look back until today, if God never blessed me with anything again from today forward till however many days I'm on earth, like I'm grateful. I mean, I would be so happy.
Sure.
And I just think that's like a mindset that over the years and through a lot of crap that I've developed. And then I heard someone this week say, when you think of, I'm going to say this wrong. It might've been at church. I can't remember where I heard this. I listen to so much stuff. I'm such like a junkie for growth, but they said something like the very first word you think of when you think of, was that at Seacoast? When you think of the Lord as like your relationship with him, and immediately mine is always grateful. Like I'm just grateful because I know what it's like to have absolutely nothing. And to go through crap and then to live a life, I feel like, of intentionality and significance that I do today. Yeah. So I don't know.
And you said you grew up with nothing.
I mean, I didn't grow up with nothing, but I've never had any, like, we would have stuff and then not have stuff and then have stuff and then not have stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember one time somebody coming to my house and being like, why do you you live by yourself? Why do you overstock on paper towels and toilet paper and all these things? And I remember like in my mind, I was like, because I remember sometimes we wouldn't have that, but then we would go shopping for like, I don't know, just kind of weird stuff.
Sure.
But, no, I mean, I've always worked for everything I've had since I can remember.
So when you like felt that healing, like where were you in your like personal faith journey at that time?
I was consistent, but not, definitely not like, okay, Lord, you've got all of this. Like it was like, I kind of did what I wanted to do. And then, if I needed something, turn to God, which I feel like is probably how a lot of people are, especially in their younger, it's like,
definitely. You don't want to have to not do the things you want to do when you're young.
Right.
Yeah.
Just turn a blind eye to it and then wonder why you don't feel the fulfillment.
Yes,
you know
totally.
What I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So after that, do you still experience panic attacks? do you still struggle with that at all, or is it completely
Yeah,
gone?
I mean, praise God,
Yeah.
no, I
Wow.
don't. I mean, not at all, and I haven't in a very, very long time. I mean, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, there are still things I get anxious about. The fact that I fly in a metal tube 40,000 feet in the air is, like, enough to send me,
Set you
but
off,
I
yeah.
have to just, like
Sure. You
You
have
know,
control of it.
I remember I was working as a bartender, right? So that was one of my previous
Mhm.
gigs, and somebody gave me Ativan, which
Mm.
is similar
Oh,
to
yeah.
Xanax, because I was flying for the first time overseas to see Scott because he was in Europe. He was in Europe at the time.
Yeah.
So I was terrified to fly. Since after that, like following that, I fell into Xanax, I fell
Mhm.
into Adderall, like
It's so easy
it's
to do.
so easy to
Sure.
do, and then looking back, like the only thing that healed my fear of flying
Mhm.
is Jesus. Like
Same.
the only thing people ask all the time, because I used to share publicly like how scared I was to get on a plane. I hate it. I
Yeah,
hate the
same.
Mhm.
experience. I hate the noises,
Yeah.
but there's like God's given me the tools like prayer, worship,
Yep.
music, silencing, um and this isn't to say like medication's great,
Yeah.
like for those that need it, but once it becomes
Mhm.
abuse, and
Yeah.
some of these medications are easily addictive,
Yeah.
like
Sure.
very easily, and they're really hard to come off of
Yeah,
too.
very
So,
much.
I'm
Yeah.
proud
Well,
of
they
you.
help you
Thank
mask
you.
a reality.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? And a lot
Yeah.
of people need to put a Band-Aid on the situation because
Mhm.
they don't have
Mhm.
time for the proper healing or don't have the
Mm.
access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Totally. Yeah. It's really sad. I mean, I watched my dad struggle with addiction my entire life. And
mhm.
I mean, ultimately it is what killed him. And um it's just so yeah, it's just sad to me. And I do think it's a disease. I mean, it's
Mhm.
but it's funny. I used to casually drink alcohol. I know this we're kind of squirreling. So
It's okay.
um and it was so wild, y'all. After my dad died 2.5 years ago, it was maybe like, I don't know, a week after his death, and like an audible voice, I heard the Lord say, "You don't need to drink
Mhm.
Mm.
anymore." And I mean,
Mhm.
I didn't drink a lot, but on the weekends, like,
Sure.
we would have
Yeah.
a margarita or whatever. I was never I didn't like wine, so I was never a wine drinker, but whatever, a cocktail. And I just remember hearing that like so audibly, and I
Wow.
told Adam, and he was like, "Okay, sounds good." And I'm like, "But, is that weird? Like, am I saying that from like a fear space? Because I don't want it to be a fear space."
Sure.
And
Mhm.
he's like, "I don't know, just keep praying about it, and see what you think you need to do." And then when I look back on it, and I actually still haven't drank since then. But when I look back on it, I know that the Lord said that to protect me because I have never walked through a darker time than losing my dad. And I really think I could have used that,
Yeah.
as like
Yeah.
just a crutch
A
or
vice.
100%. And I'm so grateful. I'm like, oh my gosh, it seems so silly to think, oh, I just have like one cocktail on the weekend or something. But why?
How easily it can
Yeah,
become.
but I just I like audibly heard the Lord say that, and I was just like, okay. I mean, and I'm not saying I'll never drink again, but I just know that for the last couple of years, it's been the best thing
Yeah.
Right.
that for me that I did.
Right. And I kind of like that you haven't created these rules for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Of like you don't know what the future will bring, but you know what you need right now.
Mhm.
totally.
I think some people are afraid if they make a choice for the season of life they're in right now, it has to be a choice for life
Yeah,
because that starts to become part of their identity. Like
Yep.
she does
Mhm.
not drink, that's her.
yeah,
Or whatever it may be. She does not do A, B, C, and D. And it's like, listen to the season of life I'm in and where
Mhm.
I'm at. And this is what God's plan is for me right
Yeah.
now for my health.
yeah. I think that's really
I
important.
see so much kindness in God in that too,
Mhm.
like to audibly stop you in
Oh
your
yeah,
tracks and say, "Hey,"
Mhm.
because it was like protection.
Yeah,
It's just such a good father.
yeah. So
Mhm.
true. Yeah.
So we get to be blessed on a daily basis with your wisdom, but can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about like how you've fallen into this role where you are a keynote speaker?
Oh
Mhm.
my gosh. Yes. Okay. So I've been in real estate. This is my 20th year. So I was a sophomore at University of Kentucky, still spray tanning
Yes.
naked people, going to school, getting, a bunch of student loan debt. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? And one of my really, really, really good friends today, her husband actually knew my dad. And we were I think maybe at my dad's house or somewhere for dinner one night. And he said, you should get your real estate license. And I was like, really? That's like, I've never even thought about that. And he said, no, you'd be great. And so I did like a 2-week crammer. and got my real estate license in Kentucky, worked for a builder and sold, like 50 something houses, I think it was that first year, which is just like unheard of. And I dropped out of school. I never went back to school.
Wow.
So I used to be really embarrassed to say that I didn't have a college degree because I felt like as you get older, everyone's like, where'd you graduate from? Where'd you go to school? Where'd you graduate? What's your degree? And I was always like,
Yeah.
But it was great for me. I mean, it's been a very blessed and amazing career, super hard. I mean, it's real estate can be super cutthroat. If you don't sell a house, you don't make any money.
Sure.
So, it's been great, but I sold real estate for about 10 years really solid. And then I got the opportunity to step into a leadership space, with a Keller Williams franchise. I got to be an owner in that. And then really just kind of grew from there. And it's crazy because I hated school, but I love to learn. I mean, like constant podcasts and books and, all the things.
When we're sitting around in our small group or having conversation, there's always like one or two people that they are a walking library, walking like, oh, this book, have you read this book? Do you know this person? And that's you. And it is so beautiful because I'm like, I habitually buy books and put them on my shelf and don't read them. And Dana's like, I'm reading this midi right now. And then she has like such a good, can you share the method you shared with me about having a topic per month? Are you still
I should have
doing
brought that book. Yes, I actually just saw Mac, no pun intended. Actually just saw, it's by Mac Lake. And I just saw Mac and Cindy on Sunday. And I was telling him how I bought so many copies of that for Christmas for people that work with me. It's actually, oh man, what is it called? Maybe we can link it or show it to people. But it's by his Multiply group, and it's a growth workbook. And basically you just pick one category a month that you want to grow in. So whether that's fierce conversations or, leadership, or right now the one I picked for January is leading through change, because there's a ton of change happening in the real estate industry right now. And so you pick that category, and then you make a list and you only read scriptures. I mean, not only, but you read scripture from the Bible about that topic. You pick out podcast episodes that are only around that topic, books, blogs, whatever. He has a whole list.
Yeah.
And that way you're not like squirreled.
Yeah.
Where you like listen to this, read that book, watch this video on YouTube.
Yeah. Because I feel like you can you can be like thinking about one thing and then you go off to the next. I mean, even in the new year,
New Year's resolutions don't.
Yes.
People put all these eggs in this basket as opposed to focusing on just one thing they want to change or focus on. But I wanted to back up about your education, because I love stories coming out and people really paying attention to. I feel like in our culture, everyone feels that there's this path everyone's supposed to take.
Yeah.
Everybody goes to college and they get a degree, and how many people who don't use their degree?
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent for like trades. I'm a big proponent for narrowing in on your specific gifts.
Yeah.
And that your path might not look like everyone else's. And I love that you are a success story for that.
Yeah.
Well,
because you're one of the brightest people I know. Yes. And not all wisdom comes from sitting in a classroom, a university.
Yeah.
It's some of it. And like, again, you're one of the most well-read people I know too.
Thanks.
So, I mean, continuing education is important.
Yeah.
But not everybody's path needs to look the same.
No.
So I love that about you.
Thank you for saying that. And I will say, people ask me that all the time, and I look at personal growth as an investment, not an expense. And I think a lot of people are afraid to spend money to go get in a room or go listen to this conference or, any of that stuff. And I used to be too. I mean, there's definitely been years where I've been like, man, I really can't afford that. But if I felt like the Lord was calling me to it and I felt like it was going to make a difference in my life, I mean, I would put on a credit card, or, I mean, I looked at it as an investment, not as an expense. And I think that has, I don't think it has paid off tremendously. We talk about, like return on investment a lot on stuff, but nobody talks about the return that you get from being in a personal growth environment. Yeah. And it's huge. And I've worked for the last couple of years with a company called Brand Builders out of Nashville that like really help you lean in on what your brand is, and an exercise that they have you do in the very beginning. You really come up with the pillars that have kind of shaped where you are today. And it's a lot of work. I mean, I worked for a year on doing it. And when I looked back, there were 4 just solid pillars that I could relate every single thing to. The first one was when I chose to live intentionally, which is why my first book is about that, which we'll talk about that later, but just intentional living and not drifting. I mean, for years, I just drifted.
Yeah.
And I had semi-success, but I was drifting, or I was burnt out all the time. Or, I'm on my second marriage. So that's another path that I didn't follow exactly. I'm the like picture of not followed the path that everyone says to follow. But intentional and living intentionally was number one. Number two was the power of building great relationships. And I take a lot of pride in building really great relationships. I mean, I feel like that's what Jesus modeled for us. And he didn't care if it was a, poor person on the street or somebody who committed adultery or a king. Like, he built a great relationship with everyone. And I think now there's so many people, I don't want to lump or generalize, but I think learning how to have emotional intelligence and like social intelligence is not as common as it used to be.
Right.
And if you could, like we tell the kids all the time, learn how to be a great friend, build great relationships with people you work with, the people you go to church with. The third one is power of proximity, being around just some really great mentors. I mean, John Maxwell, Gary Keller, Linda McKissick, who I do my podcast with. I mean, so many, just having proximity to people like that, even though sometimes I've had to pay for it. Has changed my life. I mean, 1,000% changed my life. And then the fourth pillar was running your own race, like just staying out of comparison.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we've just, I don't know, by proxy fall into that. We've talked a lot about this in our small group, but we fall into that comparison trap, and social media has made that. Yeah. And then you're drifting and you're comparing your kitchen to their kitchen, or, your car to their car, your bunnies to their non-bunnies, like whatever it is. I know now I'm like, I really want a bunny because Amy has 2 bunnies.
Go big or go home.
Yeah. But I don't know. So I think, I don't know if that really answered the question, but it's just, I can clearly see every step and path, and I'm like, wow, the reason that happened is for that to happen, or that led me to the next door or whatever.
Yeah.
How did you, so when you started off in real estate and this was a good path for you, you're such a people person that I don't doubt that one bit. But how did you realize your gift for outside of real estate? And I know that you inspire and motivate within the real estate world too.
Yeah.
But now you're writing, 90-day devotionals.
Yeah.
And
for
how did you realize,
businesses.
Right. How did you realize you had this gift to share with the world?
Great question. I don't think I did realize that I had it, to be honest. When I stepped out of selling full time and went into a leadership position, it's called a team leader inside of KW. And basically you're the CEO of the office and your job is to recruit. And I had never really had a boss in several years. I mean, I worked for myself and I had never recruited anybody. I mean, I just was so unqualified, to be honest. And I remember, I went back, I took a $250,000 income hit that year because I was, I had a great year the last couple of years selling. And then to take that role, I really went back financially. And I just remember like freaking out about it in the beginning. But I don't know. I think I heard someone say this one time, other people see things in you that you don't see in yourself. And I don't think that I knew that I had it, but other people would say to me like, you inspire me so much, or I always learn when I'm around you, or, just little things.
Yes.
And at first I would be like, oh, stop. Like, no, that's stupid. But I think the more people kept saying that, I felt like God was like, okay, this is confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And then finally I became like energized when I would go speak, or energized when I would get to be with even a small group of people and we would be talking about growth or, the Bible or anything. Where we could learn. And I was just like, man, this gives me energy much more than helping a buyer or a seller, which was great at the time. But,
Sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I just kind of stumbled into it and then just other people confirmed it for me.
So where does your source of inspiration come from?
Yeah.
Oh, so many. I mean, definitely my faith is first and foremost number one. I used to say all the time, and I'm so embarrassed. Like, do you ever look back and you're like, I cannot believe I posted that or I said that or I shared that. I used to say all the time, I don't know why, I just need like a bus to drive in front of me with a sign on it that like, because I can't hear what God's saying. And now I look back and I'm like, that's because I wasn't listening. I never created quiet time. I never created white space. I was constantly like, go, 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 go. And so now, I mean, a lot of my inspiration does come from the Lord. Like I wrote this book because I was having a horrible, horrible day. And I woke up and I was so stressed and like everybody needed something and there's 1,000 fires to put out and all the things. And I was like, I'm done. Like I'm going to like have a meltdown today. So I text Heather, my assistant. I'm like, I need to cancel everything today. And she's like, are you sick? I'm like, no, I just need a day.
Sure.
And I took a little journal, my beach chair, went out to Sullivan, sat on the beach. And I just was like, okay, God, like I'm burnout. I'm at a crossroads, which by the way, one thing I will say on that is sometimes I would feel guilty having those conversations with God because I would be like, wow, I'm so blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I have a great career. I have great people
Mm-hmm.
around me. I have great income. But if you aren't, 100% fulfilled on the inside, that it just doesn't matter. And I remember sitting there like, okay, God, thank you for all these things. And like, what is next? Why do I feel so unfulfilled?
Yeah.
And I heard God say, like, you need to write a book. And I just was like, okay, God, well, if you want me to write a book, then just, you better give me the, like what we tell God what to do, right? It's a joke to say it out loud. But I'm like, then while I'm here today, give me the title. And again, audibly, I heard the word restore. And that was not a word that I frequently use. Like in fact, I pulled out my phone and looked it up. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Mm-hmm.
I remember staring at the lighthouse on Sullivan and I heard the word restore. And I was like, So I started to look up the word restore, just the, Webster definition or whatever. And then I'm like, okay, no, biblically, what does the word restore mean? And it's actually used a lot in the Bible. And you think the word restore, and even the Webster, is to bring you back, to restore something that was before. But what God says is, I'll restore you so much so that it's 10 times better than what it ever was before.
Mm.
And when I sat there, like I still have all the journaling and like on the back of an envelope of all the definitions that I was like trying to grab stuff out of my beach bag to write on. And I would just remember sitting there sobbing and saying, that's what God's done for me my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single time I'm like, oh, I want it to go back to this. And God's like, no, I'm going to make it so much better than what you ever thought that you had it then. And it's just what's happened. I mean, so that is where I get a lot of my inspiration.
Wow.
Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, I
to
love
your
that
question.
story.
That was beautiful. So what does your normal daily rhythm look like? How do you have this intentional living in your home, in your space? Because I see you on social media flying to Kentucky and driving, and then I'm like, oh, she's in Ohio. Hold on, wait. Oh, she's speaking with somebody in Mexico. Where is Dana?
Yeah.
But then she's at our small group as present as can be and like so like intentional and just discussing. And you just feel like, a lot of times when you're talking to someone, like even myself, I can be so scatterbrained and like distracted and all over the place if I have a million things going on. And I feel like you have a million things going on, but you're like in the room, intentional conversation, always there. And it's just beautiful. So like, how do you do that?
Well, I mean, I'm not perfect. So, I mean, there are definitely times that I'm not. You can ask my husband. I know this morning he's like, the Hoosiers won last night and you didn't even really watch the game with me. And I'm like, babe, like, I mean, did you want me to watch the game? Like, I mean,
Adam, is that your love language?
Zero space for this game. Zero space.
And then I'm like, well, to be honest, you're kind of loud, and like the dogs are freaking out because you're like, clapping.
He should have called me.
Yeah. Yes, you could have totally watched the game with them, Jenny. But okay, so
Where
so
are
I'm
the
not
Hoosiers again.
Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you?
Well, they're Big
'Cause
Ten.
you're Big Ten.
Okay.
But I love all yay sports.
Yeah.
And
Yay
I
sports.
just want to watch football in any capacity.
And by the way, speaking of I'll answer this, but to go back to inspiration, like, I mean, there is no better leadership to learn from than athletes, coaches, all sports. I mean,
what
I study
to do and what not to do.
Yes. Yeah. I study a lot of, I mean, one of my favorite people I've ever learned from is Tim Grover, who was the basketball coach for Kobe, Michael Jordan, Curry, whatever his name. I mean, but I heard him speak one time and I deep dove on him for like a month because he's just incredible. I mean, such great things. But
I know somebody needs to do a case study on this Indiana coach because he literally is stoic.
Unreal.
And people are like, is he in there?
Yeah.
And yet he has led this like group of 4 or 5-star recruits that everybody has, but somehow he's been able to. So anyways, just the study of people I am also very intrigued by in general, and the study of leadership. But
well, okay, so I say that by saying I'm not like that all the time. Yet I really do try to be very intentional. So some of the stuff is maybe kind of woo-woo. Like, I'm just going to put that out there. like I had breakfast with Stephanie Lammers last week and she's like, tell me everything you do. And I'm like, you're going to think I'm so weird. And she's like, no, just like, even if you think it's weird, just tell me.
No, we want to hear. Let's hear it.
Okay. It's a couple of things.
You stand on vibration plate, true or false?
Yes. 1,000%.
Red light therapy?
Red light therapy every night. Yeah.
Are you
Adam and I
having
both.
salt in your water?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The Thorn. Yeah. All the things. But first in the morning.
Swipe up Thorn.
So we have speakers, like outdoor speakers all around our whole house and then speakers inside the house. You might not hear it sometimes, but like I play like Christian music on our speakers 24/7. It's always going. Like when we're there, if you're at my house, music is always on, but outside too, because I want like my whole entire environment to have that energy and to be protected and to feel like the Holy Spirit is there. I mean, so just like little things like that, because I feel like it sets the tone for everything.
Right. Yeah.
For years, I would wake up in the morning and pick up my phone, honestly, before I would even like look at Adam and get into it. And now like I'm on a 1,600, hold on. These were new to me last year. 1,657 days streak on the Bible app, which what is that, like 4.5 years, I guess? Something like that.
Nice.
Of I do nothing until I do that in the morning.
Okay.
So definitely am very intentional about what I put into my brain because I feel stuff, and if I check an email and somebody's pissed, then I'm anxious the whole day.
Sure. It can sets the mood. Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
very
yes.
smart.
Yes. Another thing I did a couple years ago, I don't start on the rare occasion, like if I'm traveling or something, I don't start any calls or meetings or anything before like 9:30, 10. And I get up really early, but I need that time. For so many years, I woke up and went right into it. And, I was overweight and I was anxious and I just all day was,
self-soothing.
It sounds to me like you set incredible boundaries around what feeds you.
Yes, which does not
making a healthy version of you.
Yes, which is not natural for me.
Yeah.
Like my husband is the most disciplined person you will ever meet, and I would put anybody up against Adam for being disciplined, and I'm not like that at all. I mean, I remember even when we very first started dating, he was like, "You're kind of a train wreck," and I would just, But Adam has helped me a lot because he's so disciplined. I actually was telling somebody this morning. I used to stay up super late and then I wouldn't get up as early, but Adam gets up super early.
Sure.
So then Adam like goes to bed early. So like my whole routine kind of changed, 6 or 7 years ago. And now I'm like, okay, I like this a little bit better, but I'm just very intentional. Like I have all my supplements. I do blood work every quarter. I mean, just for preventative type things, and I'm bad sometimes with stuff too, but I try to live by 80-20. Like, I can't put the pressure on myself of like
being 100
all
the time.
Absolutely not. I will spiral. So I try to be like 80-20. I mean, 80% of the time I'm going to eat clean, non-processed foods and do the right thing. And then, 20% of the time, like I'm going to have Krispy Kreme.
Right. Speaking of, you recently had, I don't know if I should talk about this.
Yeah.
But you recently had a parasite.
Oh my gosh. Well,
yeah, I was thinking that when you were saying it.
I know. And I'm like, of all of the people to get a parasite, like the cleanest. And you were like, I just really think I have something going on.
This is also sums up Dana in a nutshell, but like, we all have parasites. Dana found hers because because she's so intentional with her health and research. But I've probably had one for like 4 years.
Well, I was going to say the bad thing, and this is like the negative, Dana. I was so stubborn with it. I just kept working and was like, oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, my stomach's really hurting. Okay, I think I have an ulcer. So then and then ultimately it just turned into like 9 gut infections that were so bad.
9 gut infections?
Yes, like my result was like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. My Dr. Ryan was like, ouch, in the subject of the email when he forwarded it to me.
Wow.
He's like, you're not dying. Like this is, and also I just learned this too. This is so weird. I guess last year was like the year of shedding or something like that. And I shed so many things, which is like crazy last year. I just heard somebody talking about that.
The year of shedding.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I don't get into all that. So I don't know what it is. But then I was like, wait a minute.
My skin's flaking off right now. Is that what we're talking about?
I love to. I love to shed. I love to throw stuff out. Let's get it done.
Like I was pruned last year.
Got
pruning
it.
would be another word.
Oh yeah. I mean, my word of the year last year was tend the garden, and ended up in therapy and other things, but really throwing it all off, airing it out.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I thought you were talking like skin. I was picturing like a virus shedding.
The nurse. She's a nurse.
But oh yeah, that's true. That's probably why.
Yeah.
But it is true because then I was thinking like, wow, I had all this, but what I was going to say, where I was going with that was the enemy attacks me with like health stuff. You all know that because and like fear around that. I don't like to be sick and like I just all of that stuff. It just kind of freaks me out. It always has.
Relatable.
And I feel like last year the enemy totally used that because I had so many big things coming up. Like my book, we had huge like big things with my Keller Williams brokerages happening. I had another big thing I was working on that is coming now. And I feel like the enemy was like trying to hold me down from all those things. And so I just now I'm like, no, it is not happening.
Wow.
Like hedge of protection around me at all times.
And you physically do that at your home by setting worship music around your perimeter. I've never thought about that, like outside.
Yeah.
It's like an extra measure because I remember one of my kids was having nightmares and I reached out to my good friend Andy and I was like, what am I going to do about this? We anointed my home. We prayed over the house, but then there's this Bethel Peace album on Spotify.
I love Bethel.
I started playing it in the bed every night before bed. And it just was another, just an extra protection and reading scripture. I don't know if it was Cindy Lake or Cindy Farrell or someone told me read scripture over your child while they're sleeping.
Love that.
Also, just stand over them and just read and read, and it will fight the enemy off. And so it just makes me think oh, maybe you're setting that up around your home.
Yeah.
It's also weird how when the enemy is exhausted, his avenue
changes.
Exactly.
Shifts.
Because when you're like, I'm not afraid of this anymore. You stop being plagued by it.
Yeah.
Gotta find something else.
He finds a new little thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a part of our spiritual growth too, is recognizing the enemy and his tactics.
Yeah.
Because little things that would trigger you before, you're like, okay, you tried that. Okay, I see what you're doing. And so it's but sometimes he does do old tricks.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. 100% for sure.
But he knows that still plagues your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Creeps back
well,
in.
I mean, I don't know who said this. I've heard it for years, but it's the saying, if the enemy can't destroy you, then he'll distract you. And I 100% believe that the enemy uses all those little things, like you just said, to just distract us from whatever next big thing is coming, or whatever
territory
our assignment,
you're taking.
Yes. Yeah. Or the assignment that you're called in. People talk a lot about the difference between their calling and their assignment. And I studied that for years, and I struggled with that because at one point I went through this phase where I was like, okay, I'm not volunteering in a third world country. I don't work at a church. What am I doing for the kingdom?
Sure.
But I think sometimes when we get distracted we think we get distracted from our calling, but if you're a believer, your calling is to honor and glorify God and make a kingdom make an impact in the kingdom. But your assignment can
changes all the time,
many, many, many times.
Yes.
And I feel like the enemy is like, oh, this is the assignment that you think you're in now, so let me try to distract you from that because you're getting ready to do something big.
Yes.
And it's just praying that hedge of protection around you and having other people that pray for you. That's one of my favorite things about our small group because I mean, we've all we really pray for each other. Yeah. And I mean, I felt that over the last year, and I know you all probably have too, and other people in our group. And there's power in that.
I've always said that and this could be a giant cop out, but I've always said that I felt like one of my callings is to make Christianity look perfectly imperfect.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Because I think people think Christianity is a one size fits all, and they see me and they're like, that crazy lady can't possibly be in tune with her faith.
Yeah.
And so I'm always like, I have to channel, making sure I'm following the right paths myself and not get sucked in by this culture thing or this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I want people to look
do.
at me and be like, if Jenny is accepted in the community, so could we, you know? So I think that's really beautiful what you said. So when you're sitting on the beach and you're having this vision of Restore,
yeah.
Okay, how do we get pen to paper here? What is the book supposed to accomplish?
Yeah, it's been a journey. I mean, wow. Nobody tells you how hard writing a book is. I'm like, holy cow. I started with it going to be a 365 daily reader. And then I was like, oh, I can't write 365 days. Like, I don't have time to do that. So I was working with my strategist who helped me with my brand and with writing the book. And she's like, why don't you just start? People like a quick punch, like short impact these days. She's like, why don't you just start with like a 90-day? And she said, you have 4 pillars, the ones I shared earlier, like intentionality, building great relationships, power, proximity, and run your own race. And then do each 90-day reader on only that pillar. So I was like, okay, that's achievable. Like, I feel like I can do that. So I just started going back through. I'm a notebook, like, psycho hoarder. I have 5,000 notes. I try to like do the iPad and then I try to like, it just doesn't work. I like to write things down with a pen and paper. So I started going back through all of these notebooks and journals, and I would just pull out things I'd learned or stories or, memories. Like, I keep these things called God boxes. Adam totally thinks I'm such a hoarder, but one day he'll be appreciative. But I have these like huge God boxes from, I call them God boxes. They're not, they're like storage containers from Hobby
Lobby. But when
you
say God boxes, it looks less like a hoarder.
Yes, totally.
Like, don't throw out my God boxes.
It's spiritual, right? Yes. So true. That's so funny. Actually, I'm going to start telling him that. But I save everything. Like, just... like, I have Frankie's kidney stones. Like, I mean, everything. Like, Frankie is my dog for those listening, not a human. But I mean, just everything. But I save really important stuff too. So I started going back through all that stuff and looking, and then I pulled out the lessons of, okay, what were intentional living? So, like, for example, I think it's day 26 in the book. I tell one of my favorite stories about my brother. And my brother is a big C-suite leader, or not C-suite, I think they call it something different, but with Lowe's Home Improvement. He's been with them since he was 18. He also did not graduate from college, and he has an incredible career. Yes, it is day 26. But I share the story because it was one of the most memorable times in my life. I introduced Chris to John Maxwell for the first time, and John that day was talking about mentor lunches and how they've made such an impact in his life. And John shares these 7 questions. He's shared them. I've heard him for 2 decades talk about these 7 questions. He says, anytime you want to grow in your personal development, you should pick somebody who has a life that you want to be like, or someone that you think you could learn from. Figure out each month who you want to meet with, ask them, take them to lunch or dinner or whatever. Lunch, I think, is easier. And ask them these 7 questions.
Ooh, I like this.
What is the greatest lesson you've ever learned? What are you learning right now? How has failure shaped your life? Who do you know that I should know? What have you read that I should read? What have you done that I should do? And then lastly, of course, how can I add value to you?
Wow. Because
they took the time, right? So my brother learned those questions from John that day. And he was like, man, I needed to do a mentor lunch. Like, this is great. I'm just going to shoot for the stars and ask Marvin Ellison, the CEO president of Lowe's, who's like untouchable, right? So Chris sends him an email after the event. He knew that Marvin was a John Maxwell fan. Like, he had mentioned it from stage and stuff like that before. So Chris got a book of John's. John signed it for Marvin. So Chris emailed Marvin and said, hey, I know this is a long shot. Like, really respect what you do. I've been with the company since I was 18. I just had a mentor session with John Maxwell. He encouraged me to ask someone to go on a mentor lunch. By the way, I heard you're a fan. I got you a signed book of his brand new book, 16 Laws of Communication. And I just wondered if I could have 30 minutes for a mentor lunch. Never thought he'd hear back. His assistant responded the same day.
I love it.
And said he would love to meet with you. And this was just year before last in 2024.
Wow.
And so within like a few weeks, Chris was in Charlotte, which is where Lowe's headquarters is. He lived here at the time, and he went and had the mentor lunch with Marvin, and that is one of these pictures in the book. The first one's he and John, and then the second one is he and Marvin, where he's giving him the book. And he said, it was just a monumental moment in his life. Well, fast forward, last year, he got a massive job promotion with Lowe's and relocated their family to Charlotte. He's now, over 700 Lowe's stores and flies on the Lowe's PJ every day and all the things. And not because he had a mentor lunch with Marvin, yet like that one act of intentionality, I mean,
was a trajectory.
Yes.
Like it's that obedient, that
totally.
And it showed just like his courage and his willingness to step out. So that probably just showed I think so. Where I'm going with this is I feel like a lot of times leaders, executives, people with a platform, people who have a lot of people beneath them, or like not beneath them, but working for them. I just think that a lot of people think they're unapproachable.
Yeah.
And I think that what you're getting at here too is a lot of people are approachable with the right mindset and the right questions.
And they too had mentors.
Yes.
And see the power in a mentor.
Yes. I mean,
and that's where your pillar of proximity comes into play because they too want to grow a community like the community was grown for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and if you, I mean, like I do a verse of the day, and the verse on this page is Hebrews 13:7. Remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of the way of their way of life and imitate their faith. And I mean, what they're saying in Hebrews, and that is like mentors are great and being able to be intentional. So I know that was kind of a tangent, but I shared just that one day because basically it's 90 days of a quick page or 2 page of a really intentional story, or a way that my goal is that after 90 days, you're a much more intentional person. Like you've seen this person do it and me do it this way and somebody else do it this way in this story. And you've read this biblically, because we're called to live intentional lives.
Sure.
I mean, Jesus doesn't want us out here just drifting around.
No.
Right.
I mean, and think about his walk, you know. I know we were talking about flying earlier, and I am still a little bit scared, but I think Adam and I are just committed to do the Israel trip that Seacoast is doing in October.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were just talking about all the great things we're going to see and all that stuff. And I just said to him, I really want to go because I want to walk where Jesus walked. And also the intentionality of what he did with every single step that he took and every single thing that he did. Like, we are called to be intentional beings.
Sure.
And my life has been the result, thus these 42 years now, of when I haven't lived intentional, how my life has been, and when I have lived intentional.
Right.
And it is a night and day difference. I mean, night and day.
So if you could go back to your younger self, spray tanning, meeting real estate clients.
But specifically, she would say spray tanning naked people.
Yes. What would you tell her now?
Oh my gosh. I saw this go around on Instagram and I always wanted to do it, but I was like, I don't even know what I would say.
That would be a good reel for you to
I know.
copycat on.
I mean, I think I would say just spend more time with Jesus. I mean, honestly, that would be my answer. And just lean in, like be obedient. I mean, even when it's scary, even when you don't have the money, even when you do have the money, even when you don't have the people in your life, when you do, like whatever the situation, just be obedient and grow in your faith. Because at the end of the day, and you guys have seen this, I mean, we have friends of all walks of life, and that's it. Like, that's all we have. And I don't know. I just think I would tell her, like, be obedient and it all will work out like how it's supposed to.
I would say too, Dana, like, I feel like your faith we grew even more through seeing Jesus through people and connection. Because it's just spray tanning here or there, but your gift for having connection with people has shown you like a deeper connection with Jesus.
Well, I think thank you for saying that. I've always shared this with people. I just so badly want to be one of those people that if you have, which this is real life, if you have nothing and you're in a sleeping bag in a parking lot at McDonald's, or if you are a billionaire who has everything that there is to have, and I have been with both of those people, I will be the same person. And I want to connect to both of those people. Like, I don't want to connect to one more than the other. I want to connect and portray salt and light no matter who that is. And I remembered I wanted to share this with you all because I remember I shared this actually at this breakfast last week, but there's an old song by Chris Tomlin, and you all will know it because, I mean, other people have sang it too, but it's "Oh Lord, You're Beautiful." But in the Chris Tomlin specific version, at the end, the lyric is this: "Lord, I want to take your word and shine it all around, but first tell me just to live it. And when I'm doing well, help me never seek a crown, for my reward is giving glory to you." And really, that's just like, that's my everyday prayer. I mean, it really is. Like, yeah, thanks for saying all those nice things about me that you all have both said, but I don't want it to be about me. And I want people to see my life and want to know the Lord. Like, I don't want them to see me and be like, wow, I don't want to be like that. Or, she says she's a Christian, but whatever.
Sure.
Like, I want them to be like, wow, I want what she has, so that then I can say, well, I have what I have because of Jesus.
Yes.
And
they
that's
question
it.
what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like just that, someone said to me a couple weeks ago, like, you just have this razzle dazzle, and they weren't a believer. And I didn't say this because I wanted to process through it. But then I was talking to one of my mentors, and she said, Dana, that's not razzle dazzle, is the Holy Spirit. Like, they don't know, they didn't know how to describe it as that. So they said razzle dazzle, but like, we as believers know that that's the Holy Spirit.
I had someone say that to me one time, of when you go into a party or you go anywhere, and people, you want them to ask, like, what was different about this space? What was something's different about that person? Because that's the question that they're asking, that is ultimately planting a seed, or ultimately going to lead them closer to Jesus. And like, that is what we're called to do, being in the secular world. And I think it's beautiful. It's so beautiful to see you just like, I mean, your light shines bright. I cannot believe that the copy, I can believe that your artwork is a lighthouse shining bright, the light out, because that is like what you do. You shine Jesus's light like so brightly for anyone, like when you step into a room. And we're just so thrilled that you came on the podcast.
I'm so thrilled to be on. Thank you all for having me. Well, I love what you're doing. It's so amazing.
Thank you. We have one question that we always ask everyone that comes on.
I know. I've listened
our episodes, and it is, if there was anyone that you could sit with underneath the oaks, it could be from your past or someone you've never met.
Yeah.
Who would it be?
I mean, obviously, other than my dad, again, like that.
Yeah, sure.
But hands down, like, it took me half a second to think, and it's Dolly. I mean, she's been on my bucket list. I know this is going to air a few weeks later, but she recently turned 80. And
today's her birthday.
Yes. And the reason why I love her so much, y'all, is she is that. Like, she's herself. She doesn't try to be anything other than herself. She has never been ashamed to talk about her faith. She is bold in her faith for the Lord. Talk about take your calling or your assignment and your call and live it out. Like, I mean, she's done that, I mean, so well.
Yes.
I love that she stayed in the secular space, but she brought light into this, like, just so many things. I know it's kind of crazy. Some people are like, what?
No, I love this.
But I would love to sit under the oaks with Dolly Parton and just ask her 5,000 questions.
Sure. And I love that she breaks the mold.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that she's like unapologetically herself. And she's like, I love the Lord. I also love, shiny glitter things and a bustier.
Totally. Yeah.
But I love the Lord.
Well, and
how high is that hair?
Yes. And she said something maybe a couple years ago that I loved. Someone asked her in an interview, we talked about this on my podcast. Someone asked her in an interview, like, how she's had the success or whatever. And she said the most brilliant thing, I'll never forget it. She said, I never stopped trying and I never tried stopping. Meaning, like, she just kept going. I mean, she didn't stop trying and she didn't try stopping. Like, she's always, and I'm a big, like, one of my values is excellence. I like, if I'm going to do something, like, I want to do it with excellence. And that's how I feel like that's how she is too. Like, she's just, she just opened her museum. I feel like we should take a small group trip to Nashville, by the way. It's like everything
There's
that
some good stuff in there.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, thanks for sitting with us.
Thank you all.
Your story is beautiful.
I love y'all
you are so
much.
easy to
Such
talk
an
to,
inspiration.
Dana.
We're
thank
gonna
you
laugh.
so
Easy
much.
to love.
Thank you.
Love you. Hi, friend. If you're enjoying this podcast, I'd love to hear from you. Hop into your podcast app, scroll to the ratings and reviews, and let me know what you think. Your 5 stars and kind words might be just what someone else needs to jump in and start their own journey under the oaks. Thanks for listening and supporting us.